What's up, Geeks and Gamers? Mike and I are back once again with another movie review. And today we're going to be talking about Reminiscence, a movie that came out this weekend starring Hugh Jackman. And we're here to tell you all about it. So, Mike, right off the bat, what are your initial thoughts about Reminiscence?
Man, oh man, is this movie ambitious? I wouldn't say that it's like massively ambitious in scope, but it tried to do something. It was trying to but I don't know. It was trying to find a really cool like blend of like genres, and it really just feels like a stitching together of a bunch of genres that don't work very well together if you're not a more competent writer. This is not a shot at Lisa Joy directly, but also you can see that the script needed a little bit more polish. I like right now, like it's a little bit Blade Runner, a little bit Inception. It's got these weird blends of different movies in it, and none of them are cohesive enough as a unit to have made me really like this movie. I thought that Hugh Jackman did a great job. I liked his character, but I don't know. Like in the very beginning of the movie, he's like a scientist that invents some kind of technology, but then he's like an ex-soldier who runs like this. He's like a scientist that runs this place where you can like go back and like relive a memory over again. But then also he's an ex-soldier from this war because the world got flooded, like because of global warming or some crap like that. And everybody like there's like a giant world war, and he was in the war. But then also he's a private eye that works like part-time for the police people, and like he meets this lady and he's like, I gotta find out what this lady, like there's a bunch of this, like it's like part noir, part like mystery, part sci-fi, part like romantic drama, and none of them like stick together well enough to make it work. It's kind of a mess, to
It
be
felt
honest.
really disjointed.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
did. Yeah,
Mhm.
it felt like there were like 2 or 3 different movies all vying for like the spotlight, and it feels that way because sometimes the movie will like be on a kick and you're like, oh, I can kind of get with this flow, and then it changes up completely. Like there are literally like voiceovers from Hugh Jackman, like a film noir, like a detective story, and then the next scene there's like an action fight, like a choreographed
Yeah.
action fight with 2 guys with hammers trying to beat each other's skulls in, and you're like, is this a kung fu movie now? Like what's
Mhm.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's my initial thought. It's kind of a mess.
Yeah. The director of the movie, Lisa Joy is her name, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she didn't seem like she had a very clear, well thought out vision for this film in a lot of ways. It felt like that she was just kind of like throwing a lot of different things in the wall and just
Yeah.
kind of hoping that it turned into something in a way.
Yeah.
So I definitely feel the same way about that. This movie was absolutely all over the place. Mike talked about that already and stuff. So, but they also, I think that one of the things they absolutely could have chopped a lot of stuff out of this movie to
Yeah.
make it way more tight and an interesting film. There were lots of really random and weird extra like themes and subplots in this film.
Yep.
So I definitely agree with that. There's a lot of unnecessary subplots too.
Yeah.
And when I came into the movie late and stuff, but when I first sat down and was watching the movie, I didn't even realize it was supposed to be like futuristic dystopian sort of
Yeah.
until a little bit later on when they're like talking about how the world was flooded and stuff, and I was like, wait, what? And then I started to pick up on the fact that it was futuristic and stuff. And so but to me it didn't feel like that any of the themes or subplots really was like driven home very well.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like the director was kind of pulling her punches on a lot of the different themes and subplots and stuff. So
Yeah.
she should have gone all in on some of them and then cut out some of the other ones. And I think the movie would have definitely benefited because of that. Hugh Jackman was great.
Yeah.
He did a really good job in this role. He really brought it with the acting. But even with that, I didn't really care overall what happened with his character.
Yeah.
I didn't really care if he found the chick that he's trying to look for in this movie or not.
No. Nope.
I just during this entire film, I was like, I mean, the concept is interesting. There's a lot of interesting ideas that this movie is presenting, but I just don't care about anything that's happening here. I just didn't. They didn't give us anything to really even care about Hugh Jackman's character in a way. There's something lacking as far as his character and his character's background and stuff. I didn't feel like there was enough of an established connection with who he was.
Yeah.
I don't know if they kind of explained in the beginning the part that I missed and stuff, but just coming in, like, I didn't feel that I quite understood. I didn't get Hugh Jackman's character. I didn't understand who he was really or anything.
The synopsis for this movie is like it sound in the original synopsis, it sounded like there was a scientist who was Hugh Jackman's character who was trying to find this girl that he met and like disappeared with, or she disappeared, and then there was a private eye who was investigating this like corrupt, this like crime family or something, or there's like crime, and that their stories would like kind of diverge or converge on each other. And they kind of just put all of it on Hugh Jackman. He's like I said, he's like 4 different things in this movie. He's a scientist, which they barely mentioned. He just mentioned it in passing. He's a private eye. He runs this memory machine, and then he's also like trying to find the love of his life, but he's an ex-soldier. And so like he did all this, and I'm like, dude, where did you have time to do all of this? And even Rebecca Ferguson, she did a great job. Like the acting in this movie is not the problem.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But the story is so weird at times, and it feels like you're watching 2 different stories. And honestly, if Hugh Jackman played 2 different characters in this movie, it would have made more sense. It would have been less confusing than him playing this one character that can do all of these things, because it feels like he's running left and right, and literally a couple times in the movie he seems inconvenienced by the fact that he also has to do these other things. Like he's like, I'm trying to find this thing and I'm trying to do this thing, and they're like, oh, I gotta go do my private eye job. And you're like, what? And he's like, I gotta. It's a thing I do. You know?
It's so weird, dude. Everything. I was just very confused by a lot of the stuff that was going on in this movie.
It feels like somebody watched like went on a bender and watched a bunch of their like favorite movie genres, and then tried to write a movie based on their how it made them feel. I will say I was surprised, but I don't know that this was on purpose. It was written by the same woman that co-created Westworld. It's not super woke. There's not a bunch of like agenda pushing. Like there's vague references to the fact that it's flooded because the world's so hot. But like even that doesn't, like, there's not enough. Like, I don't know that they didn't want to be woke. I just think they didn't have time because they don't know what they wanted to do with this movie. It's all like a hand like pushing on an idea and then pulling back, like you said, like pulling punches, like, ooh, what about this? Or ooh, what about that? Or ooh, what? And then like the emotional beats in this movie when they're there, Hugh Jackman acts his ass off and they don't land because you're like, I want to feel for you, dude, but like
I just don't care. Like,
I don't care. Like, I'm trying to figure out where this is going to end and how this is going to end. And then the movie ends and the ending is just as weird. Like, I'm like, wait, the implications of what just happened and where this is trying to say it went make no sense to me.
Exactly. No, it was really bizarre because of that. Like I said, I feel like that there is like a 4-hour cut of this movie out there somewhere that maybe makes more sense, but obviously that's just ridiculously long. And when they were cutting it down, they just left way too many of these different things in the movie and stuff when they should have really focused a lot more on just a few of them. Otherwise, like, it doesn't give any of these different ideas in this movie room to breathe. It just doesn't. So that you just feel like you're just being like jerked all over the place in this movie, and you don't know what to think or feel about anything that's going on.
Absolutely.
So
and then even the action sequences that are in this feel unearned, and it feels like it's trying to break up the monotony, but like
they felt out of place.
They do. Like 2 guys will just randomly like walk into a room and pick up like sticks, and they're like, and then they just have a fight scene, and you're like, why are you what? And then like everybody's like a martial artist now. Like what is It's a
it was weird,
mess.
man. It was weird.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so with that being said, Mike, what is your grade for Reminiscence?
So I gave Protege, which we did a review on, a C minus, and I actually like Protege more than I like Reminiscence, but I'd give them the same grade. I give it a
Mm-hmm.
C minus. There's a good movie in here somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
the amount of work and time that would have to be done to get it to like be a good movie, I don't have any interest in waiting for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I don't want a better cut of this movie. There could be a better cut of this movie, like you said. I don't care enough to want to find it or
Yeah.
like watch it. I'm just kind of like, nah, you kind of missed it. Like you wanted to do something, but you didn't do what you were hoping to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt very heady and overly like stuffed. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
C
Yeah.
minus. I wouldn't recommend going to see this in theaters. I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't even recommend watching this on HBO Max. I don't think it's worth your time.
No, I agree, actually. I agree with that.
Yep.
So and that's sad because, like I said, there is a potential good film in here, but they did not stick the landing at all with this one. So I'm going to give this movie a D. I'm going to put it a little bit below what I
Ooh.
gave the Protege. And it's sad because I want to like this movie, but I just can't with how much of a disaster it is. So yeah, with that being said, those are our ratings for the film. Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you've seen Reminiscence, what do you think about it? We hope that you enjoyed our review, and we will talk to you in another video very soon.